Welcome to the Women's Voice, a platform for learning, advocacy, and awareness on issues affecting women of Uganda and beyond.
Yes, good afternoon, dear viewer. Thank you so much for considering and sparing time to come and learn with us today. My name is Annette Nyonyintono, and I'm going to be your host today. And yet again, we have interesting and a lovely, and I would say a very, very passionate guest who's going to be sharing with us today. And without wasting time, I'll invite her in to introduce herself, tell us who she is before we dive into our topic today. And today we are going to be sharing about guiding children to discover their purpose. I'm really so much interested and I'm excited to learn. I don't know if you're also excited as me, but I'm really excited to learn. And I hope that the parents out there, the children that are watching, the guardians, the mothers, pick a few from what we'll be sharing today. You're welcome, Helen. Please introduce yourself, our viewer.
Much, Annette, this opportunity. Dear viewer, the person before you this afternoon is whatever Helen, an educationalist with a very vast experience of 36 years as a teacher. And out of those 36 years, 19 of them, I served as a head of school, 8 of the years as a deputy head teacher, and the other years I was a head teacher in various schools. So I'm blessed to be here and to share with you my 36 years of experience as an educationist, especially concerning purpose for our children. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you so much. You're much
welcome to the
welcome
show.
to the show.
And we want
And you are
to appreciate you for coming and for uh, committing to serving the communities. I know that being a teacher is a lot of commitment because we've all been in school, and there's a lot that goes around. When you're in school, you struggle with children. You every day wake up to new assignments of learners that they bring. So for me, I think it's a lot of commitment and it takes passion to really be a teacher. Thank you so much for all those years committing to. I know that when you see your students, progressing and serving elsewhere, it gives you joy because you know that you've been part of the journeys and you've also imparted knowledge. And as they succeed in life, you also succeed as an individual. So today, I wanted us to reflect on our topic, and I know that it's a really broad topic. But to begin with, Helen, why should we be speaking about guiding children to discover their purpose? Why is it really important as a topic to be talked about today?
For me, that topic is quite important. One, because of what I have gone through as a teacher and also as a parent. Through those 36 years, something intrigued me. Whenever I would ask students what they want to be, they didn't seem to know exactly what they wanted to be. When it came to making choices, especially for certain optional subjects, senior three for that old curriculum, it was always a struggle. Children chose subjects because others were doing them or because they thought they were easy to pass. They didn't have a clear reason why they were doing certain subjects. And it was worse at senior six. Whenever it came time to fill in those children would be so wary because they didn't know what they wanted to do. And they would always be running after teachers, asking what teachers thought they wanted to do. And it was even worse. Some of them go ahead to make their choices because their parents dictated so. And so there was always that confusion. That's why I thought it would be good really to discuss this topic together with the students out there that are tuned in and also the parents and teachers to know the importance of why these children need to be guided right from a young age to know what they want to be or what they are meant to be. How can they know it? That is how does this often.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
and
know that
I
for parents, it's hard. Uh, Reason being that most of the parents don't know how best to guide their children, and also at some point, I think they think it's not their role. When they bring the learners to school, they believe that it is the role of the teacher to guide the learner because they stay with them for quite some time, and also uh, they see somehow their potential and they see their abilities. So parents are relaxed and think that it's entirely the teacher's role to guide the students to discover their purpose. As a specialist or as someone that has had experience, whose role is it to really guide the children to understand and discover their purpose?
These children are born in their homes. The parent is the first guide, the first teacher. And this guidance starts from day one. We don't need to wait for children to reach secondary or primary, but right in our homes. Uh, what we want to encourage the parent out there that even when you are going to school, in spite of, irrespective of your level of education, you can guide these children. How can this be? We want to encourage every parent who is listening to us out there or viewing that every human being is created as a unique being and with a unique purpose. Now, a child, right from that young age of 1 to 3, you as a parent, you can be able to tell the strength of this child. And you start from there. So our guidance starts from there. You observe this child. You are able to even tell the strength, what that child is good at. You can be able to tell what that child is passionate about just by watching and by you engaging with that child. Now, I want to start by encouraging you as a parent, first of all. Besides just giving instructions and guiding and telling this child what they need to do, we need to start by having conversations with this child. Before the children start talking, in most cases it is asked to talk. But even before you talk, this child already has got something wired in that child, uh, something that has to do with the purpose. And why am I saying that? For you, for those of you who believe in the Bible, right from Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, it says that we are workmanship created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. So even before we become mature to understand, to know what we are, we are already wired within ourselves. Our purpose and what we are supposed to do is already wired within us. And now for you as a parent, this is where you come in. You are able to tell whether your child loves music, you are able to tell whether your child loves a certain piece of work, whether your child is fascinated by machines. And as they grow up, you can be able to tell whether this child really is a social worker, depending on how they relate with the siblings. Is he always the peacemaker that wants to put things right between others? Is he the one who is always advocating for those that are vulnerable and maybe not as much? To this as a child, as a parent, you're able to gauge. And that's where now you come in to support what this child is all about, rather than discouraging. I don't know whether that is clear.
Well, that is
Well, that is
exciting,
exciting,
that
that
I think that it's really good to know that the parent is the first person that is responsible to guide their child or their children to discover their purpose. Because when you understand that it is entirely your role, it then takes you to the point of understanding how do you do it. Because I know that for some parents, they really know that it's their responsibility and they know that they have to do something, but they don't understand how best to do it. As an expert, how can a parent or a guardian or someone that is entrusted the responsibility of taking care of a child guide the child to discover their purpose? Because now, of course, they know maybe this child is a giver, maybe they are passionate, maybe they are forgiving in nature, maybe they are into machines or they are into, sharing. How can they guide them to discover their purpose or their full potential?
how you begin. One, by helping this child to know who he or she is. That is that skill of self-awareness. We shall here share some few examples and maybe experiences that we have gone through. But have you ever tried, even right now at whichever stage, to guide that child to understand who he is or who she is? Because in most cases, even when at whichever level, I've been a secondary school teacher, when you ask a child, who are you? The first thing he will tell you is the name. But as a parent, we need to dig deep into the child's life and encourage them to appreciate who they are. Affirm them. If somebody is good at something, say it to them. Say, oh, my child, so and so, you're really good at this. You're always coming in between your siblings. It seems you're very good at it. You have that heart that desires well for others. So through affirmations, it will even make that child to understand themselves more, to know that, okay, it seems this is my strength. Even my mom knows it. Even my father says so. Even my siblings so and so. But the problem right here in Uganda and maybe in our local cultures, it's rare that we affirm the good things in our children. In most cases, we look out at their negatives, their weak points, and then through abusing them, those are the things that we magnify. So to the point that as a child grows, they tend to feel more of their weaknesses. Because as they grow up, these are the things that mommy kept on saying. Even when it is your physical feature, somebody will emphasize the bad ones. See this one, see this big head, those huge eyes of yours, and then they will add on so many other negative things to the point that you really appreciate either your looks or if you're outspoken and you're always that person who will speak for others, you'll even be abused for being quarrelsome or coming out to attack an adult. If you're that assertive person, your parents will look at it as something negative. Even your teacher, they brand you as somebody who is not respected. So our first step, first and foremost, is self-awareness. Let's help our children to know who they are, to appreciate themselves, appreciate their strength, to appreciate their skills and talents, and to appreciate even their personalities, because that is what makes you unique. Just like we have a unique DNA, we have unique personalities, we have unique abilities. So for you to be able to understand your purpose, it starts by you appreciating who you are. Because your purpose is in your design. God put in you those special things within yourself that are going to propel you out there in the future and help you to achieve your purpose, to accomplish whatever you're meant to accomplish. You cannot do it by copying somebody else or trying to be like somebody else. If somebody is outspoken, I'll give you an example. Personally, I have a personality of a reserved person. I'm into myself so much. so cautious. I think a lot and analyze a lot before I say whatever I'm supposed to say. And I'll not find it easy to go and enter a group and start a conversation and make friends. That's not my make. And I admire those other people who are outgoing and they can fit anywhere. You just throw somebody out there and they'll germinate. Now, that kind of person, that is how God made them. And his or her purpose will be encouraged and achieved through that personality that they have. And yet, with my kind of personality, I can also do my work or what I'm passionate about because that is how God wired me. So I cannot copy to be like the other person. And so, if that person there is outgoing and loud, encourage that person. Actually, let them know and appreciate that that personality is the best that they have, and through that personality, they can achieve what we intended them to achieve or go out and do what they intended. For instance, such a person can be a very good person in business, in sales. You can, go out and do a lot with the people because for you that is your strength. But then, as a parent, I should not discourage that person. For instance, if it's that person and he's always in the neighborhood talking and he's the one mobilizing the neighbors' children, you can end up putting that child down by making sure that that strength in one way you end up abusing and maybe demeaning that child because of that strength. Because it is through that very personality or skill that that child is going to change the world. So that is one. Then the other way, after helping your child know who they are and know their strengths and their unique abilities that make them stand out, your next bit will be helping them to embrace it and then try to be now intentional about it. You can enable them, one, by affirming them. And also the questions, because these children grow up feeling something deep inside them. But when they talk to you, or when they ask you, how do you respond to their questions? There's something interesting. When I was a young parent, I did not understand. There's a stage in children from 2 years, 3 years, where children ask so many questions. They say, Mommy, what is this? What is it for? When you each answer, they will come up with a question. I realized that God did not make a mistake. He put that stage in children. That is a stage that we parents should really utilize. The children ask so many questions. I remember when I was a young child, a young parent, I would tell my children, this is too much. You ask too many questions. And by then, not all children. But I realized that now that after my children have grown, the children who used to ask so many questions had something special within them. They were so curious, they wanted to learn, they were so brilliant. And for me, maybe as a parent, I may not have helped by not answering their questions. Instead, I felt maybe tired. Sometimes you even don't know how to answer. Sometimes the questions are so complicated, but that is the stage at which us as parents should really come in. And as we answer those questions, we are helping these children to understand themselves more, to know what they want. And in that way, they will be appreciating themselves and even loving the kind of the people who they are. So as they ask those questions, you also need to create conversations. One thing I've learned as a parent is that we keep on talking into children's lives, either giving them instructions, telling them what they should not do or what they do. But I think it is high time that we change the way we converse with our children. It is through those conversations that we can start guiding and maybe discovering what these children want. I remember at one time, our firstborn especially, was also that kind of very, but then I didn't have the experience of parenting like I have now. And at a certain point in time, maybe that time I was already in secondary school, one aunt of hers invited her to a nursery school to give a talk to parents because the aunt realized this child was very. So he decided to invite him as a speaker, young as he was, to speak to the parents. And I remember my sister telling me that one of the things that caught the parents is that this boy told the parents that parents, you need to start talking with your children other than always talking to the children. You need to listen to what the children have to say. And from that time I was already a head teacher. That is something that really got my eyes, and I started getting interested into listening to these children. And as a teacher, I gained a lot by listening to to the students. Yet I missed out, especially on my children. And as you listen to the children, you realize there are certain things that they want to be, that they want to do. You realize that these children have also dreams. But as parents and teachers, sometimes we imagine that the children don't have dreams. It is just to tell them what to dream, just to tell them what they are good at, and we really give them a chance. So that is the second stage. Listen to the children, hold conversations with them, listen to them, and you guide them from their perspective. Ask them what they are good at, what they are really dying to do, because our purpose has a lot of connection with our passions. If you're passionate about something, it is not for an accident that God put in you that passion. That passion is intended to drive you to fulfill a purpose in life. So you cannot know the child's passion unless you listen to them, unless you create time to play with them, engage with them. And by understanding their passion, then you're able to create that conversation about the purpose. For instance, you're able to say, "Hey, so and so, you're so caring. I think this is good. You have a caring heart. You're so compassionate. I think you can touch the world if you went into the community and worked as a social worker, or as you pursue your studies, because these studies that we go through are one of the steps through which you go, you reach wherever you're going. As a compassionate person, I think you can really be good in the medical field. You can help people. You can be a nurse, and you start like that. And right from that stage of primary, a child will even be able to appreciate why he's compassionate and what he or she can do with those feelings that are within the person. My personal experience when I was growing up, I had that passion of being a nurse. I really liked caregiving. And I remember one time in those sharing moments, I told my mother, Mommy, maybe I want to be a nurse so that I can take care of the sick. And I remember that time we used to stay around Mulago. Sunday I would escape and go to Mulago Hospital, play in the lifts, but at the same time, peep at the parents, the patients, greet them. But when I told my mother that I wanted to be that, I remember her telling me, you cannot be a nurse. You know why? Because the patients, especially the women, if they are producing, they will curse you. Their nakedness will curse you. So when I thought of being cursed by people's nakedness, I dropped the whole idea of dreaming being a nurse, and I ended up being a teacher. But those that stay with me, those that I have worked with, even in schools, and I remember one time, even when I was retiring, one of the teachers said, "We shall miss our doctor." Like in my interactions, I'm always so passionate about health. I read a lot about health. My life is all about health. When people are in need, I'm always the first be there and give a helping hand. It is my passion. It drives me in whatever I do. Even as a teacher, I was so caring because of that compassion value within me. It comes so naturally. I'm so taken up by the vulnerable people, and helping and caregiving is just too natural for me. But as a parent, my parents never helped in that. I'm talking of a mother because we are always, most times, we are with our mothers. So if a child shares with you the mother who is giving us this afternoon, you need to listen to that child and ask more questions. Why you think the child loves that thing? What makes them think they can do that? And you build on their answers and questions. In that way, you'll be helping the child actually know and discover their purpose. So besides that, the other step that you can help is to ask them now, as you want to do this thing, whom do you want to do it for? Because children are so brilliant, sometimes we underestimate them. Right from primary, don't wait to hold these conversations when these children are in secondary school. By the way, when they're in secondary school, they rarely listen to you, they listen to their peers. But in primary, nursery, you, the parent, you're the superhero. So when you hold those conversations at that level, definitely you get their attention and it will help you to guide this person. So ask them who would they like to serve? Because why am I asking this? Our purpose, by the way, is about service and it's about other people. So the moment you ask a child that, it will help you to know, it help you to guide that person to know the line they are in. Whom do they want to serve? Whom do they want to serve with their, their skills, their talents, and all those good things that God made within themselves? They'll be able to tell you, maybe I want to handle students, I want to handle sick, I want to handle buildings. The purpose is always about something and not about you. Why am I so concerned about this? In secondary school, when I remember when I used to ask my students, what do you want to be? They will always give you the answers. Oh, I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. But then, to me, that was not enough question. I would go ahead to ask, why would you like to be a lawyer? Why would you like to be a teacher? Why would you like to be a doctor? When you give the why, then it guides the child the more. So for you, the parent, I was asking you how you should guide. When a child tells you maybe the profession or where they want to end in the future, add in the question, why do you want to be a teacher? Why do you want to be a lawyer? You realize that the child may struggle, but it is through answering that question that the child will be able to discover their purpose. In most cases, children are guided by the circumstances they go through. Some of them have suffered so much, others are growing up through homes that are full of domestic violence, and I'm sure deep down themselves, they end up growing certain urges to live better lives, maybe to help people who are going through such things. So that circumstance alone can cause some uprising in this child to desire for justice. And the only way that justice can be brought or given is through this child following that same line. So if I will tell you I want to be a lawyer, go ahead and ask why. And you realize that this child is really up to justice, he wants justice, not for himself, but for herself, but for other people in the community where they are. Somebody may tell you, I want to be a teacher. Ask, and as you guide them along those lines, you'll be guiding them to discover their purpose. Because the purpose is beyond money. You don't, yeah, because some students actually used to answer that for me, I want to be an important person. That's why I'm at school. I want to be an important person. Now, being an important person is good. But what kind of important person? What makes you important? And for you, the parent who is listening and viewing, want you to know that what makes one important are not those hooks. Because some people who have not been helped to know their purpose have achieved all those other academic qualifications. Some are consultants, they are doctors, they are engineers out there, but because they don't know their purpose, they are so frustrated in life. They are drunkards, they're on the streets, they are not happy because, yeah, they became doctors, they went through school because their teachers told them, you are good at sciences, do the sciences. And you find yourself in a hospital, and then you're so miserable. Then you find a doctor who knew why you went to be a doctor. So interesting, and each time he jumps out of bed knowing I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to be the answer to that miserable person in the hospital. Compared to this person who just found himself there because he did the right subjects, you'll be even frustrated by going to meet those sick, miserable people. Or if for us who are teachers, if we are not guided and that maybe we have joined the right profession, the kind of teacher who go out to abuse children, to gain children, but a teacher who is called to be a teacher, you know that you are like a pen. God, you're co-creator with God, and this child is part of the person you're molding to become that person that society will be proud of. So if these children can be guided to answer whom they want to serve with their talents, with the values that they have, then you'll have done a good work as a parent, even before that teacher comes in. And the other bit before we conclude is asking them that the people they want to serve, of what benefit, what value will you be adding on those people? They need to know that whatever they are doing, whatever their aspirations, they should be value. They should be able to add value on whoever they are serving. If you are going into the medical field, are you adding value? And those people out there are going to benefit from your talents and your skills. If they want education and you're going to be a teacher, that means God has put in you what you deserve to be a teacher. You have the love for children, you have the love for humanity. Are you able to listen? Are you patient? Because patience should be one of the values. Because teaching is not for the faint-hearted. You need to be patient, you need to be loving. The student can be so cheeky, but if you're patient and loving, that means you listen and you'll be able to guide the student better. So, in other words, you'll add value if you have that love for children as a teacher. You go beyond just teaching the academic subjects, but you'll be able to touch that heart of a child. And that is what it means having conversations about, who you are, what is it that you have that is you think can serve others, who are those people that you want to serve, and when you serve them, what are they going to benefit from you? Because you need to tell these children that God did not make you just to survive, be born, grow, and get out of the world and make money. You need to touch somebody's life. You need to add value out there. And that is the purpose. To serve humanity with what God wired within you. Be able to touch people's lives. You should be able to make a difference in people's life. And as you do that, there's that fulfillment and joy that you get that money cannot give. Because most students, when for us who are teachers, when you go to the class and ask, how many of you want to become teachers? They will even laugh at you. Out of a class of 80, you get one or two putting up their hands. And the reason those two or one put up their hand, sometimes I ask, "Hey, all these people are laughing. For you, why do you want to be a teacher?" And the answers I have got, the child will tell you, I want to be a teacher because I admired teacher so, and that teacher so and so has done a lot in my life. He has made me, to love myself. He has made me realize that I'm a good person. So the person I admire as a teacher, not because you are teaching, but because of how you minister to the heart of that child. So you realize that if you are able to touch somebody's life with the service that you give, then you are really walking in your purpose. And there are those who say, I want to go to school, be a doctor, and make money and become rich. When your whole aim is ending with yourself, that's not a purpose. You'll make that money, you'll become rich, but you'll be very, very miserable. But if you're able to make that money and then contribute something to somebody or to your community. If that money is going to help you serve something in community or in somebody's life, then there you'll be purposeful, I imagine, because you are able to change something in your community or in your life with the money that you have achieved for you. But let our children be guided to know that purpose goes beyond yourself. It is all about others, serving others. And like I started with the Bible, maybe there are some of you who are viewing us and they are Muslims. I was blessed to go to an Islamic university, and I read the Bible because I'm born again. The scriptures guide my life. But the Quran also have a teaching. If you are a Muslim and you're watching and you want to see what does Allah say about the purpose, there is chapter 51, or them ayah 16, or the verse 16, it says, I have not created man except that they serve me. Then the other chapter is 23, verse 115 of the Quran. If you're Muslim, this one says, did you think that we had created you just for play without a purpose? And then the last verse from the Quran is from chapter 3, and there are many verses from 189 to 191. It says, to whom is dominion of heaven and earth? To everything that was created by us was for a purpose in life. That is for the Muslims. But for the Bible, there are also so many. We have seen Ephesians 2, chapter 10. Everything God made, even before we were born, everything was predestined within us. So as a human being, there's always that longing to be important. So if you don't know why you want to be important, but the Bible answers it, He predestined and made all those things in Christ Jesus so that we should walk in those good works. So for you to be able to walk in the purpose, you need to know God, because it all begins with God. And you need to know to make Him Lord, to learn more so that you're able to walk in His purpose. Even the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 5, verse says that before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. The same Jeremiah 29:11, I alone know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you, not for evil. And many others. So even when we grow up as children, we feel that we are meant to serve. We feel that we want to be important person. But now we need guidance. How do we become those important? How can we profit? Actually, Isaiah 43:17 says, Lord, teach me how to profit. So you may go to school, get the degrees, get money. As long as you're not profiting anybody, as long as you're not in service for humanity, then you're living a purposeless life. The need is there, you feel it. That's why some children can ask and say, I want to be an important person. I want to be like so and so. They look up at role models. As a parent, this is where you come in really and guide these children. And you not guide the children by just lecturing. It is best through conversations. Those guided questions that are discovered. Maybe any other question. Let me find those things that are listed.
Well, I think that I was diving into the session and I was deeply thinking about things and reflecting and trying to understand. And also, now a lot of things make sense because my personal experience when I was a child, when I finished my high school, my teachers wanted me to be a teacher. They're like, I think you can make a good teacher. And my mom was a nurse and she really also wanted me to be a nurse. But I was like, no, I don't think. I used to tell her, for my mom, that I fear blood. I don't think I can be around blood every day. And I told my teachers that I can't be a teacher because, like, I've seen students really, you know, being a problem to teachers. So I didn't want to see myself every day struggling with learners, and my passion was into serving the communities. I remember where I grew from, it was a community where people used to fight a lot. It was near the barracks, and people used to fight a lot. And we used to run and hide where they could be mediating these cases. And I used to tell my siblings and my friends that no, they are lying. It was not like that. I think they are not fair. Like in the judgment is not fair. I think this one started it. This person, I think, is, somehow the wrong person. And we used to really like it. It used to interest me to see people being fairly judged or being, treated the same way or treated fairly. And so for me, my passion was into going into the community, seeing people, happy and serving. And I didn't really want to be a nurse. But I know that listening from your experience, now I understand that if as a parent you don't guide your child, at some point they can be easily misguided if they're not rooted deep into understanding what they want to do or where they want to be. It is easier for them to also be misguided by teachers, by people around them, but by their fellow youth, because Helen, not every child gets an opportunity to understand or to have someone to guide them through their lifetime to understand their purpose. A lot of children find themselves doing things because their parents want them to do it. And this conversation for me is very important for parents, because I've had a lot of children that just take courses because their parents want them to take the courses, and also because what you are speaking about, uh, not having the purpose to serve others, but thinking about the money or thinking about yourself is a driver for this, because a lot of people think that I'm in the ministry, so I need to go and study so that I can easily fix you in the system. And so you find a lot of people in the system that are really frustrated. They don't want to work. They come late. They are not in offices, because for them it's all about the paycheck at the end of the month. It's not about serving people. So I know that this topic is really a very important topic for parents, and I hope that parents that are listening are picking and they're able to share with others that have not been part of this conversation. You can please share this discussion for others to also understand and also learn. I've learned a lot as a young parent, and I know that at the young stages we neglect listening to our children because of a lot of reasons. Sometimes we're also frustrated. Just imagine as an adult, you're growing and you've not yet discovered your purpose, or you're just moving aimlessly. How are you able to guide your child? It becomes hard for you to guide your child because as an adult you are not guided, and you're just living without a purpose. And I know that a lot happens in schools, and Helen, you've been part of the school. As we conclude our show, please, what can you tell the teachers? I know that you've talked a bit about them being like co-creators, and but we have a lot of outset teachers that can be at decision-making tables, and they can guide. Because at my former school recently, I've heard that they've started inviting old students that now have careers or that are doing work in the community to speak about their work, speak about their challenges, for these learners to understand if really they are thinking of being probably a lawyer or being a teacher or being a nurse. Like, what does it take to be a nurse? What is in there for them? Because some of the learners was children, you're excited because of what you're seeing, and maybe because of thinking that probably if you what you talked about being an important person, probably if you're a doctor, you'll be an important person, and probably you begin to probably if you're not, if you're a tailor, you're less important. How can the teachers and the parents and all the people that are in the guiding positions try to make children understand, or trying to uh, bring them closer to understanding the reality of being whatever they want to be, but also as they discover their purpose, also understanding, I would say, taking a sneak peek of what it takes to be someone, to be a nurse, or to be a teacher, what it really takes. How can this become a reality for children that are still in schools? Because as you mentioned, we don't have to wait for children to probably finish high school for us to begin these conversations. How can schools or parents or guardians intentionally guide their children as they discover their purpose?
Also begins on maybe how they became teachers. Because many will just not be bothered, they just go teach. At the end of it all, somebody is looking for salary. But if you found yourself in that space, I'll give you an example. For instance, I didn't want to be a teacher. But the people who brought me up and paid my fees kept on telling me, Helen, you can be a very good teacher. I mean, teacher. And first of all, I didn't have many words. I wondered how I would be talking to people. So it never occurred to me, but for them, they saw that I would be a good teacher because I listen and all that. So they took me for teacher training and when I became a teacher qualified, I realized I loved the children and it starts from there. So my first advice to the teachers out there, love your job, and your main focus here is the student before you. Know that you're not there for a purpose, just like, I mean, for nothing, but like we have been talking about your purpose. God has put you in that space to use what you have, your knowledge and the values within you to guide this human being to be a better human being. So put in your heart in the child. Besides giving the academic lessons, we need a lot of guidance. And that guidance, thank God we have the new curriculum, which encourages a lot of interaction. So as these children, they talk, the teacher's role has changed to a facilitator. That means you're going to listen more to these children. And as you interact with them and listen to them, that is where you're going to begin. You realize that some people are gifted in this, some people have this other passion. And once you are able to identify the children's passion, their purpose is connected so much to those passions, skills, and talents besides this ability. So let's stop glorifying so much of the marks, because in schools out there, thank God maybe to the new curriculum, the traditional curriculum with the grading system, the repeating, and all that was not so fair. Sometimes we judge the children wrongly. Like they say, you judge the fish by its failure to climb a tree, and yet you can judge it best in water. So, this new curriculum, you can observe, interact, and then talk about life, the real life, as when after all this is gone, how are you going to live this in this world, in this community? How are you going to serve with what you are endowed with in your life? And for you to be able to do that as a teacher, you need to know what you're doing. You need to create that time. Maybe if you have 80 minutes in class, at least 5 or 8 should be on A or B, talking about life and sharing experiences. As I'm a teacher, yes, but I have, uh, like one of my children, I remember, did sciences, completed. We guided her like it has always been. Apply for this medical course, and she went in to do biomedical lab. She completed, and I remember she even got an upper second. When she completed, She told us, Mommy, Daddy, for me, I want to go for missionary work. And we told her, okay, for 1 year, you go and serve. And after that, she didn't want to complete. And we tried to, try to guide her, get this job, do that, but that was not her interest. I remember we encouraged her even to go for masters. She picked the forms, applied, was called, but she never went to report. Then we told her, okay, maybe since we almost through with fees for others, we can open up for you a laboratory, stock it, then you employ somebody of diploma and you supervise it, for me, I want to Bible counsel. So I remember the father asking that Dr. Powell, but why didn't you tell us from day one that for you are interested in this Bible school and all that? I remember the daughter telling the father that me, I fear to be disowned. So it hit us so hard. But this is what I'm saying, because we kept on telling, do this, you're good at this, I think you can do that. But we never observed what the passion of this girl was. But when I look back at her life, she was so much into the Bible. She was so serious with her salvation. Primary, she was a chapel prefect. Secondary, that was her line. When she went at the university, she was a chairperson of Christian Union, as they call them, mamas. And that's why when she completed, she wanted to continue with that kind of life. And here we are telling her, go for master, do this, go into the lab. So why did she even mention that? I fear to be disowned, because I think the father was so hard on them as usual, parents. You think you're doing your best, your child should come out and do this. If you don't do that, then my child can't be that kind of being. If they are poor grades, then you're not my child. So there's that kind of fear to be disowned. And this child took it so passionately. She did her best. Her grades were ever good. University, you get your upper second. At the end of it all, you said, here's the degree. But she didn't say it like that until we really probed to say, why? Why didn't we tell us so that you go right away to that kind of school to lead you to purpose? So even as I talk right now, that is one of my daughters, Bible counseling, and that's what gives her fulfillment. And we have counseled ourselves as parents to support her at this level when she's already an adult. But we missed the steps to watch the passion, to have the conversations, because we kept on telling them. And even other siblings, I'm sure I'm not alone. But as a teacher, I kept on telling parents, please let's learn to listen to children. Let's observe their passions. This idea of forcing people, we are scientists in our family, even you must do the science. Children have suffered, they are not passionate about it, they are not motivated. They go because it's a science era and everyone is doing it. And the child's passion and motive is not there. They will do and complete. And after that, either get frustrated with the world, like you say. So we teachers have a big role to play. After parents doing their part, when they come into our spaces of education. Let's listen, let's hold conversations. We shall be able to guide these children better, and we shall have a productive force, because many people are performing poorly at their jobs in the community just because it's about money, not about the goal. I think as a teacher, children believe in their teachers. And maybe before I end, there's something I also experienced in school. Many children are suffering with anxiety issues. They're so anxious, and what is causing this anxiety? It's the high expectations from the parents. The parent expects so much from you. The teachers expect so much from you. Then there are those internal battles within you. For you, you feel, to me, this is what I want as a child. But your father, your mother is saying something else. So at secondary level, children are suffering with anxieties. They end up having sleepless nights. They end up having serious disorders to the point of even being depressed. And you wonder, why are children depressed? is our lack of knowledge that is causing it. Fighting with what they feel they need, what they feel, the God-given feeling of the purpose that they have to achieve. And yet it is contradicting what the teacher is saying. So even through these PTA meetings, we need to harmonize. A lot more has to be talked about so that we harmonize and bring up a stable focused child.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so much.
for sharing with us today. And as an individual, I've really learned a lot, and I know that our viewers out there feel the same. We'll definitely have you again to share with us, because I know that such experience, our children, our parents, and our guardians can learn a lot from you. Thank you so much for serving with passion. And for our viewer out there, thank you so much for following today's discussion. We appreciate your effort. You can share this show for the people that have not been able to watch. They can watch the show later on our YouTube channel, Women Rights Initiative, or our Facebook page. Keep sharing. Today we had a very interesting topic, and from a very experienced person. We are so happy that we were able to think about this as the children come back for holidays. Take time to share with them, take time to listen to them, and also understand their fears and guide them well, because we want to see children thrive. We want to see a better community, because we all live in the same community. Thank you so much for today. Keep tuned on, and we will have more and more interesting discussions to listen to and to learn from. Thank you so much. May God bless you. Bye bye.